young soldier. He provided him initial counseling. Amen. He laid out his expectations. He gave him a vision statement. He helped him through the mentorship process. He followed up counseling and did spot checks. That's the responsibility as leaders. So Christ, the master, asks, who did the neighborly thing? Now I'm coming to why I'm here. I was telling Sergeant Major before I got here, every speech I have to tell this story. Not for my own aggrandizement, but because it's important to you. I met a leader like that. I met a leader who took the time to say to me, young man, let's talk. I met this leader at a very crucial time in my life. I had just received my second Article 15. 1991 hadn't even expired. I came in the Army in 1991. 1992 hadn't even came into existence yet, and I hadn't received my second Article 15. Of course it wasn't my fault. In artillery land, we used to have a lot of sayings like chewed up, soup sandwich. Guys used to stand in the back of the formation and say, Shabazz, you ate up, right? I could have went to culinary art school or something like that. But I remember, like many of your soldiers out there, I was the scarecrow who believed that he didn't have any brains. Like many of your soldiers out there, I was the tin man who didn't believe that he had any heart to change his life from habitual failure. Like many of your soldiers out there, I was the lion that didn't have the courage to take on the problems in life. I was at a point, and many of your soldiers out there, and even some people that may be in this room, that I had lost all hope, not just in the Army, but in life. I had lost hope to the point where the unthinkable was at hand. This leader brought me into his office. He took the time to bandage up my wounds. He took me to an innkeeper and he told me, and if he said this very poignantly, he said, young man, you are not your mistakes. You are not your loathing of yourself. He said, young man, you are not your low self-esteem. Don't define yourself by that. You know what's interesting? The thing that he said, I was 26 years old, PFC. My leader told me at 26 years old, I had never heard this before. He said, I believe in you. Listen, I believe in you. 26 years old. Some of your soldiers in your formation have never heard that. He unlocked something in my brain. What Sergeant Major didn't know was, at 10 years old, I was molested by a family friend. What Sergeant Major didn't know was that I failed the 8th grade because I was having problems from the molestation. What Sergeant Major didn't understand was I had been shot at 19, beat with a shovel, and left on a Texas street for dead. But this leader said to me, I believe in you. I hope you're listening. You have been bestowed a leadership position. You are in charge of a human being. Leadership is not about income. It's about outcome. You see, leadership allows you to dream for those people who don't have the courage to dream. Leadership allows you, based upon your experience, to think for those who have not learned to think for themselves. Leadership allows you to free people from their dysfunctional lifestyles to be an emulation of you as a leader. Colin Powell said, leadership is about solving problems. He said, the day that your soldiers stop coming to you is the day that you have stopped leading them. They have either lost confidence in you or they have concluded, listen, that you just don't care. In either case, it's a failure of leadership. Leaders, I want to say to you as I close here, most of the time we don't understand the power of influence that you have over soldiers' lives. Most of the time we have to take a different approach to even the words that you say to those people who are in your care. It may be inconsequential to you, but those people who are in your care hang on your very word. My commander, and I'll close here, when I was going through my stuff, he didn't know that I used to practice in the mirror being like him. He didn't know that at night my spouse used to laugh at me because I even tried to walk like him. He didn't know I used to practice facing movements because I said one day with a little hope I could be like him. So when I went in for my Article 15 reading, he told me this, and I'll close. Preachers always say that. That means it's going to be at least 45 minutes. He told me, Shabazz, the Army would be better without you. He says, guys like you, that makes me sick to my stomach because you have not learned to follow orders. He said, I'll be glad when I am out of the Army so I don't have to deal with people like you. Listen, had Sergeant Major not took the time to pour oil in my wounds, maybe Shabazz is not standing here today. As leaders, I ask you to do introspection. Be careful with your words. You have the ability to change people's lives. Thank you for listening.